This is Robert Rule, born December 30th, 1927. He served in the Merchant Marine from 1946 through 1947, in the United States Army during 1948, and the United States Air Force from afterwards. He reached the rank of warrant officer in the Merchant Marine, private first class in the Army, and airman first class in the Air Force Reserve. Today is April 21st, 2012. We are at West Jefferson Middle School, room 128, West Jefferson, Ohio. The interviewers are Cassidy Pelfrey, student, Trevor Ferguson, student, and Mr. Thomas Kitchen, history teacher. Guests include Conrad Martin. This interviewer is being conducted for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress.
Okay. Mr. Rule, can you tell us a little bit about your service?
What do you want to know?
We'll start with the Merchant Marine.
It all started in Plymouth, Ohio, where I was born, and my dad died when I was 16, and my mom couldn't no longer take care of me. So a neighbor of mine, we went up to the Great Lakes and signed on a ship, a freshwater ship. And I stayed on the ship for, a number of months. And I would get off and I got on another ship, and you're allowed to do that too. So I found this other ship and I got off. And, well, it sank about five years after I got off it. It had sunk up on the lakes, and everybody went down with the ship. Then I went to New York, and the reason I went to New York is because I wanted to get on saltwater ships. So I was just wandering around and waiting and going in and putting my name up on the board because you had to go join the union to do this. Well, I went in and they had a ship up there that was on a year's charter for the Navy, a T2 tanker. But to join, you had to stay on it a year, and that's when I went. I went out across the island where it was parked, and we got on there, and then we just traveled from, I think, about every port in the oceans. Went through the Panama Canal and all up that side. Went to Japan, China, just port of call. And we would fill up other ships with a big long hose. We'd get close to it, throw it over. We was carrying 175,000 barrels of 100 octane gasoline. And we had 21 Navy men guys on the ship. Let's see. Half of them would be on the stern, half of them would be on the bow with with small cannons, and then on the south side and north side of the ship, they would have the smaller machine guns in case that we would get attacked. And they were mines floating around down in the ocean, and the mines were hooked up to where if the ship would get too close to it, it was magnified, and it would suck it right onto the ship and blow it up. So I was down in the engine room, and we put a degaussing system generator on, and that would discharge it away from the ship as we went through. And I've seen a lot of them go past us. You know, that's spooky. You know, it's kind of hard to get your sleep good at nights, especially at nights. But they always had guys on the stern and the bow, day and night, looking. And like I said, I've been to so many countries. I can't count them on my fingers. But I enjoyed it, and I paid 10% extra pay for being on a ship that was hauling explosives. Also,
Do you remember the name of your ship?
Kings Canyon.
Kings Canyon.
Kings Canyon.
I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit. There we go. Or we can get more of your medals that way. And service ribbons. Okay. And was that the only ship you served on in the Merchant Marine?
Well, the only ship, yeah, except the ones on the Great Lakes, the two I was on there, the one that sunk. And
Do you remember the name of that ship?
not right offhand, it's a bloomer.
Do you want to go ahead and move on to your service in the Army then?
The Army, well, finally got off a ship and up in New York City, and this other guy we were around together with, and you run out of money after a while. So I said, well, why don't we do this? We'll just flip this quarter up the air. If it comes up head, we'll go Army. If it goes up tails, we'll go Navy. So we did that. We come up Army the way we went. And I was in Austria, like I said, on the Danube River in the Army, and they kind of give us a rough way to go quite a long while. They would kind of torture you.
The Russians would?
Yes.
Can you tell us that story again with the
Well, yeah, then what they would do is they would indict you to try to get over, so they could arrest you or pick you up. Well, they'd put us, every month we'd go on what's called a railroad side. Well, that's where the trains would go through to go into the Russian side. But what they had to do, though, if passenger trains would come up, and they would have to board them and see if they had their license to get permission to go into Russia, or from Russia to get into the United States. Well, they would sometimes, if they wanted to get a woman, they would get it, let it go through and get it. They would drag her down underneath the trains, because we could see it on the Danube River. We could see the banks down, and you could hear them women screaming, and guys too. If they wanted something, they would throw the men's luggage off, and he'd have to get off. And there wasn't a thing we could do. We could see it happening. So at night and stuff, it was more visible at night than it was at day, because these guys would kill these guys and just throw them in the water. And so to get back to the normal, what we were doing, we was trying to have this train stopped right where our post was. We had 24 on and 24 off, and then we would change every 24 hours. And this train would go about halfway across that bridge. Well, it had holes in it, or it had been bombed all over that place, and people would fall down through. So we kept telling the guy, the engineer on the train, stop here, not over there. And the next time he come through, the same doggone thing. So on our 24 hours off, we went down to where they take care of the trucks and stuff. We got two small pails of oil, and we come back, and he got on one rail and I got on the other, and we went down there about a half a mile and put oil on that track. Well, the next day he come through, boy, he was going all the way, and he went to put on his brakes, and there's no brakes to put on. So they slipped right across. You could hear them guys. They was beating up on the coal passer and the engineer. And anybody that got off the train, they just beat the heck out of him. So that was quite an experience. So after that, you'd see him coming up the road. He'd go, and he'd stop. But I've had good times, and I've had kind of bad times. Not really bad, but it was quite an experience, and I think of things every time I go to bed. I'll think of something, because I lost some good people. Kids I used to run around with over there that had gotten shot, and it gets to you,
went through basic training at Fort,
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
and what was that like for you?
Sir?
What was that like for you?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was, because I was pretty athletic, you know, and it didn't bother me. But, and then because if you couldn't do the push-ups or the climbing through the water and mud and all that stuff, you couldn't do it. You was out, you know.
Do you remember about how old you were when you went through basic then, or
No, sir, I can't.
early 20s maybe?
Yeah, probably, because like I said, I signed up when I was 16 or 17 and right about my age to do it. But
And did anybody ever figure that out or no?
I guess not.
Or they didn't care sometimes back then?
No,
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be into my mom, because, you know, she when Dad died, it was quite a hardship on all of us.
Mhm.
And, but we made it.
What did he do for a living, your father?
My father
Mhm.
had a clothing store in Plymouth, him and my grandfather.
Do you remember what that was called?
Rules Clothing Company,
Okay.
you know.
Do you two want to?
Was there a reason that you wanted to? Was there a reason you wanted to go into the Rich Marines, or did you just sign up because you wanted to?
No, we flipped a coin on that, and it went up, and we went there. If it went the other way, I went into the Navy, see? And I already had enough of water that was bit on that.
What do you think about your experience? Like, what do you think you learned from it?
I learned an awful lot. I learned how to try to approach people and try to make friends, even out of your enemies. And it's in the Bible too. But I have my point more than ever that I think that the best thing the Lord ever put on this earth was laughter. And that's why I got all that bunch of stuff there. It is. You think about it. It's a medicine.
What's your favorite funny story then from the military? What
The funniest?
did you play pranks or jokes on each other ever?
Oh, of course, my Lord, it wouldn't be. When we was in the billets, we had the beds. And a lot of times, we had these two guys from New York, you know, and they just was, oh, they couldn't do this or they couldn't do that. So at night, 4 of us would go up and get the guy that was upstairs sleeping and take him and put him downstairs. And then the guy that was downstairs, we'd take him up and put him upstairs. Well, when the bell rang, boy, here those guys went, but they was the wrong way. But, you know, other things too, putting stuff in people's, you know, under the covers and stuff, and little fake cats or toys or something, you know. But there again, there goes back your medication, laughing.
Can you describe to me your coming home from the war?
Coming home,
Yeah, what was that like for you?
I don't know whether I can even tell you that. I was missing what I come home, I was missing what I had, but you gotta kind of start all over again. So I kind of messed around, got a job, and worked in one plant, and the guy, that's when I was in Mansfield, Ohio. I was working in the boiler room and shoveling coal. And the guy come in one day while we was taking a break, and he says, "You want to come down here to Columbus? We're opening up Westinghouse, and they're looking for engineers." And he says, "You want to come down and get a job down here? You got it if you want to come down." So that's when I moved to Columbus. And I was there for, 5 years down there until they closed the plant. And then I figured, well, I might as well retire. And that's what I did.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your Air Force experience and getting your pilot's license? And
I got, the pilot's license was not through the military. I did that out, on my own. But I taught my daughter how to fly, and she's got her license in Alaska. But, no, I don't know. It's been, I've tried to keep myself fit. But, when you get 85, you just, things aren't the same. I got a pile of pills that much I gotta take every day, every night and every morning. But the warden, my beautiful wife, I slipped in that she helps me. If it wasn't for her, I would not be sitting in this chair right now.
how long have you been married?
Too long. I don't know, I can't really tell. Something like 23 years or something like that, maybe longer. But I have just my daughter up in Alaska, and my son, he died about 17 years ago. And she had 2 children, and believe it or not, both of them got killed. So I haven't had any children from her.
Is she from this area originally, or
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
where did you two meet?
Sir?
Where did you meet each other?
Believe it or not, at church. We went to a dance. And the women went to the dance to see if they could get themselves a nice man.
So did she?
I'm not even going there. Everything's okay, but I got the last word. Yes, my dear.
Can you talk to us about your uniform and some of your service medals and ribbons and your braids and tell these two?
This is not our military. We wore long boots like this, and the pants with the, what do you call it? Like yours. Well,
Blouse,
no, it's got all kind of spots on it.
Oh, camouflage.
Camouflage, yeah. See, I couldn't do it. Yeah, and
And that's your
Dress.
divisional patch over there on your
yes,
shoulder?
uh-huh. Yeah, that's the 24th Cav, and this is the Air Force, this is the 24th Cavalry here, and this is the Air Force, and this is the...
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's on your right shoulder there?
There, same thing. This,
Yeah.
that's same as this. No, it ain't.
Nope.
That's 24th Cav too, I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
different.
And you've got a marksmanship badge? Marksmanship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What were you qualified for as in the Army?
You just, if you can shoot so much, they give you this. And I've done pretty good with it, but I can't remember now what I did get on for the bid.
What was your rifle that you...
It was 45s, and then it was up to the big ones. And I can't even tell you then. This has been a long time ago.
Did you carry an M1 maybe?
Yes, sir.
in
Everywhere
service?
we went, 45.
Okay.
We carried 45 everywhere we went.
Okay.
Out of the Army, Air Force, and Navy, which one do you think your best experience was?
I would say that's a hard one. I'd have to say Merchant Marine, really, because you had to get along with people. You're out a year with the same people, and I had some real Okinawan that we hit into a tornado or a what was it?
Typhoon?
Yeah. And we had to stay in the head point into that thing with it was top size. And we was down in the engine room, and that prop would come out of the water, and we'd have to shut the throttle down, or we'd blow the blade off. 3 days and nights we had to do that. And
Was
you
that-
couldn't stand up, it just,
Was that the scariest that you
well, that
experienced?
and seeing them mines go by is pretty scary. Because it could happen. And when you see other ships over there that's a smoking and all that kind of stuff from hitting mines, it's, you know, you gotta think of it. The guys are doing what they wanna do to help, and
How long did it take you to adjust to life at sea?
well, I didn't have any problem. Some guys, they get bullheaded and won't do or can't do. Then the chief engineer or the captain will put them on heavy duty. And that's mopping the floors and taking the trash and doing this and in where they ate, they have to take in there and work, you know. So you followed the rules. That's me. I mean, to do all this stuff, you did it, or you were reported, or you can get your bag filled and get off.
Did you ever get into trouble in the service, either Merchant Marine or Army or Air Force?
No, I didn't.
That's good.
That I can say.
What were your off duty? Like, what'd you do when you were off duty?
Off duty, we had 24 on and 24 off. In the off duties, you could do whatever you wanted. And if we was in that port, we could get off the ship, stay off of it, and do anything we wanted to do. But when your time come to go back, because you know you're working day and night when it's 24 hours a day. And I've had a lot of fun. You got this young lady in here, a lot of it I can tell.
I can send her out if you want.
No, because I wouldn't want you to even write it. Martin knows. I've told him all about it. We're going to Toyota. Where's it?
Huh?
Where are we going?
Tomoto.
Tomoto, Japan.
Okay.
Geisha houses, all over the place. And they teach you like you're gold. And as you go in there, now this is the truth. I'm not going to go all the way through with this. I know what you're thinking.
Do you mind if he talks about
No.
it? Okay.
Huh?
I don't mind.
Go ahead.
No, you do mind. I'll keep that out. You go into these geisha houses, and the first thing they do is they get you in there, and they tell you to sit down and cross their legs, and sit in a circle. Now, this is half the guys off the ship did this too, with us, you know. So what they would do, they would come out and give you a little, give you a little glass, and they put what is it?
Sake?
Huh?
Sake.
Sake. Yeah, see, he knows more about it than I do. He puts sake in it, see? And he'd have that, and then they'd talk a little bit. Then they'd say, okay, you guys, get up. And we go to the back. Well, when you went out the back, there was a step like this there, and another one, and then it went down into a valley. Well, they had these big tubs like that, like,
Hot tub or?
well, like our gasoline cans, the big
Okay,
ones.
yeah.
And they would be down and level with the floor, because down there they did that. And they had a little fire underneath them. Well, they had one of them, and then the other one over here had soap and water in it. And what they would do is they would put you up on this table, and it would be just about as long as one of these tables, and it was padded, and you had to take all your clothes off, everything. And they had, I don't know how to say this, but the girls, so they didn't have very much breast. They didn't even wear brassieres over there. So they would come in, and they would get up on this table, and they would actually walk along your back like that. And he gets the back done on him just about, twice or 2 or 3 times a week, but that woman won't do that for him, he said. But
At
actually,
the chiropractor.
yeah, actually, the toes would get in down there and get those muscles and stuff. And it did. It just, crazy. So after they did that, they would put you down in this big hole, the soap water. And they would rub you down and just really, you know. And then after you get out of that one, they put you over in the rinse and get you down. And then you get back on the table and they get a towel and they wipe you all dry. And that's it. I can't go any further. Don't even ask. Got a good memory though, don't you?
What do you remember most from your experience from the Navy, Army, and Air Force?
When they tell you to do something, you better salute and do it. Whether you want to or not.
Have you ever forgotten to salute?
Yes. And you think about standing with your nose in the corner. That's kind of awkward for a man. And they'll do it. Once you do it, once you forget, you'll never forget again. Isn't that right, Martin? He was in the service, yeah.
Did you ever get to talk to a Russian on the border there in Austria?
Well, yeah. We had one of them. Now, what the heck was his name? The ones that we had up on the railroad train there, you know, he would lose Luisik or something, but he would always come over at night, and our door was here and a big glass there, and we'd sit there at that desk, you know, nothing to do, he's about half asleep, and he'd go in and go, like that at us, you know, and we got to liking the guy. So after a while, he started bringing over drinks for us and everything like that, until one day he come over and there's another guy come over and found out what he was doing, and they never let him come back again. But no, you can talk to these guys. I was out at the one big dam one day. They'd just stick one of us there, Russians on one side and we was on the other. Well, it happened that my flag, you had to put the flag up when you took your post. The daggone flag got mixed up with the rope, and I said, well, I'll just go over and have this guy hold me to get up there so I can fix it. So I get over and I get halfway over there and he's got his gun out. And I said, no, 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 no. I said, you know, I made finger motions and stuff up there. And hell, he ran the other way, off the bridge. Because, you know, some of them will, you know, you can talk to them and kind of be with them and they'll work things out. And then some of them won't. You can't trust them, I'll put it that way. They're built to be that way, that's what they're taught and everything. And the Americans have a different way of looking at things, you know. I mean, hell, if that happened, excuse me, if that happened to me, I would go over and help a guy out, but, you know. Then you cross that border doing that, and they'd be about 10 run up and get you, they got you, because you went over the, yeah.
What was the most difficult task you had to do during training?
In training, I would say push-ups, because they'd count it off, and they'd stick their toe right under your belly, and you better touch it, yeah.
Was there ever a significant amount that you had to do because of another soldier acting up or anything?
No, not really, because after you get things, if you've done something, you get a person aside and you tell them you hadn't have done that, you know, and tell them what they did, and then, but if it happens the second time, yeah, then you got them, you know. Everybody makes mistakes. even me.
You said like you lost a lot of friends, but like, have there ever been, or do you still, are there any friends that you still have contact with from the Army or Air Force?
I did have, and the guy's name is Menarzek, and he lived up off of New York State. And we would time off, we would just go all through up in the mountains and stuff, you know, and we just loved to go up and just get flowers or different things that we don't have, and it was fun to do it. And we got along real good, and we worked together real good. Well, after we got home and everything, I knew where he lived, so I went to go see him, and I knew where he lived and I had the address. And I walked up the door and I knocked and I says, some lady come to the door, and I asked about it. I come to see Menarzek, and she started crying. She says, he re-upped and got killed. And just made me feel about that high. And I had another, well, relation that had gotten killed too, that over there. But it goes with the territory, you know. Yep.
We can go ahead and stop if you guys want, we're ready. Well, we certainly appreciate you talking to us, and thank you for your service to our country. Is there anything else you'd like to say on camera before we shut it off, or?
Yes.
Okay.
If it wasn't for that guy sitting over there, him and I are the next things to brothers. We help each other. He helps me, I help him. He's the nicest one guy I've ever seen.
Good, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Did you two have anything else you wanted to? Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
well, thank you.